Hey folks, Russ Scala here with Scala Precision Health. How are you today? I'm here with Chrissy Misfid, one of our health advocates and research writers. How you doing, Chrissy?
Pretty good.
Chrissy actually takes what's in my head when I do stream of consciousness writing, and she puts it in a format where regular people could understand. So she's very helpful to me getting content into your hands. What we're going to take on today is diets, why diets fail. We're going to talk about carbohydrate addiction and all the myths out there that are confusing people. With the last few years of COVID and everything, more and more people are asking us about going on a diet. They want to drop some weight to elevate their immune system, and we want to help them with that. We also have physicians in our area that want a weight loss program for their practice, and they sort of get a little deterred when I tell them, you can't have one weight loss program for everybody. Everybody's biochemically unique. So the doctors are saying, well, I've got to see 20 people a day. I don't have a lot of time. I need one program for everybody. And then I'm thinking, why don't I just shoot a video, folks? I'm going to put this information into your hands. You could make smart decisions. You could ask your doctor the tough questions. And let's drop a few pounds. I've worked with bariatric patients. I've worked with carbohydrate addiction. Back when I was a paramedic attached to the SWAT team, obesity was prevalent in the police, fire, and paramedics department. As a triathlete, I raced all over the country. And even in the 1990s, I was wondering why so many athletes were crossing the finish line and they were obese. I'm like, if it's calories in, calories out, and they're training 20 hours a week, why aren't they not burning body fat? And we're going to tell you why. So anyway, get your pens out. Share this information, click like, and let's get started. Chrissy, what are you laughing at?
Well, you just gave us an overview.
Okay.
Well, okay, I've been going to the same gym for 10 years, men and women, all kinds of ages, and seeing everybody come back, and it's always, what are you eating? Because we're all at the gym 3-4 times a week. So what is it about diets that don't work? What are the myths about losing weight that we all seem to be prey to?
Okay, that's a great question. You know me, I like going down the rabbit hole, right? So there was a guy named Wilbur Atwater that actually worked for the agricultural department, and he had a bomb calorie meter. You know what a bomb calorie meter is? He used to put material inside this device. It would heat it up, and every time it would burn a calorie, and a calorie is a measure of heat. Well, what he did when he worked for the agriculture department, I think in the early 1920s, 30s, he was putting food in there. He was burning different foods and measuring the calorie. Well, that's how we got the calorie count on calories of food. But guess what? Our bodies don't work like a bomb calorie meter. Okay, so you know what's really crazy? There's all these diets out there, folks. People are spending thousands of dollars a year on diets. But think about this. If you have 300 calories of a steak, 300 calories of broccoli, and 300 calories of mashed potatoes, according to a lot of these calorie diets that are counting calories, they're all the same. Well, they're not all the same because your body will respond to them differently. We know with all the books out there, Jason Fung, all the leading writers now on weight loss, the ketogenic diet, carnivore, we know that if you elevate blood sugar, insulin goes up, and that's your fat-storing hormone, okay? So let's look at the plate again. You got a plate of steak, 300 calories, a plate of broccoli, and a plate of mashed potatoes. Which one's going to raise the blood sugar the fastest and the longest? Well, if you were to check your finger, after you eat it and do a blood glucose and check your finger, it would be the mashed potatoes. So everybody's body responds differently. That's why I tell people, Chrissy, that we're all biochemically unique, depending on your age. You know, this is a gender-specific program. Men and women lose weight differently, and nobody talks about that. So the calorie myth, you see how that's wrong?
So not only is that a false premise,
right,
but the potatoes will make your blood sugar shoot up faster, and depending on who you are, that may last longer based on your own individual metabolism.
Exactly. There was a brilliant doctor that was in a small town named Dr. Bernstein. I think he fed over 10,000 patients. He handed them a slice of bread, and then he measured their blood sugar. And some people, their blood sugar would go up and go down. Other people that were carbohydrate sensitive, from one slice of bread, you could Google this, Dr. Bernstein's glucose testing. Some people would eat one slice of bread and their blood sugar would stay up for 6 hours. So these people are carbohydrate sensitive. So again, I used to see it with endurance athletes. Women used to get on the treadmill for 4 hours trying to maintain their weight. And then I call that the endurance trap, because they start losing weight, and the only way to maintain that weight is to keep increasing your mileage. And nobody wants to exercise, for 4 hours a day.
Is there such a thing as too much exercise?
Yeah, of course. That was me. All the triathletes, I burned out my adrenal glands. I along with a lot of my compadres, nobody talked about it, but when I was exercising a lot, I was elevating cortisol level. It was causing abdominal body fat. I had erectile dysfunction. I lowered my testosterone, thyroid. I was damaging my body and not realizing it. Though I had a low resting heart rate and a great tan, I was racing all over the country, but I was damaging my body and I didn't realize it.
So the elevated insulin from those, because they like to do carbo loading, right?
Oh, completely wrong. In fact, in 1996, I was living in this home with a group of triathletes. We were racing all over the country. My two roommates were just almost borderline pro athletes. They were just so fit, and they would basically win races or be in the top 10. I told them, I said, listen, I don't think we should be eating carbohydrates. And back then, everybody's going, what are you, crazy? All the books say carbohydrate load. I go, I know, but I don't know. Everybody's wearing these goo belts and they're eating energy bars. I got the research here. Well, we all went on the ketogenic diet in 96, and my God, we made a lot of mistakes. I ended up in the ER with heart arrhythmia, but we were losing weight for the first time. And very, very interesting evolution for us. Like when you're a triathlete and you're running, biking, and swimming, and you really sucked like I did. I remember one time I did this bike ride with 50 people, and we stopped at the 20-mile mark, and I was the last one to ride up because I was so slow. One guy said, hey, Russ, we're going to time you with a sundial. My point is, like, I did that same bike ride for 10 years until it took me about 5 years to where I got faster. And when I didn't do the carbohydrates, I actually got stronger, it was completely flying in the face of all the pros out there, all the gurus that are saying you should carbohydrate load. Well, you only got about 2 hours worth of glucose in your muscle and another hour worth in your liver. So that's why people say I should carbo load before I go to the gym. You don't need it. You already got the gas. You already got the glucose in your system.
What about the people who say that you need to have a sugar right after you work out to put the glucose back in your liver?
Well, I think, again, your body breaks down muscle to elevate your blood sugar levels. I think that's a myth. Some people are hypoglycemic. Some people are doing intermittent fasting. Some people are doing keto, and they're not doing it right. And then their blood sugar drops, and then their adrenaline kicks in. They think they're having an anxiety attack, or I can't. You've got, folks, that's why we set up this gender-specific weight loss program at Scala Precision Health here in Winter Park, where you could call us. And also, if you go to the Russ Scala YouTube channel, you can see how the intestinal tract and how all your hormone levels affect your weight loss. Try to remember this, folks. Fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated, okay? Fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated. So if you're going to a doctor for a weight loss program, God love the doctors. All my friends are docs. And I know the training that they have. They don't understand how the body loses weight. The one doctor that's my good friend is an endurance athlete. He rides long distance bikes. He's a cardiologist. He gets it. Now, everybody else wasn't taught how to help somebody lose weight. Everybody goes, and a lot of times they blame the overweight person. And the overweight person actually has a broken metabolism. It's not their fault. You know what I mean? So again, I hope this back and forth we're having, Chrissy, educates some people.
Well, you mentioned hormonal, so that leads me to ask the question of why do men and women need different weight loss programs? I'm assuming they do.
Yeah, they do. Like, for instance, if a woman gains a little bit of weight, she could be estrogen dominant because the fat cells will produce estrogen. When a woman becomes estrogen dominant, she becomes low, as she ages, low in progesterone, testosterone, and estrogen dominance, which I got videos on the Russ Scala YouTube channel, you can see what happens. So a woman starts to gain weight, her estrogen goes up, her estrogen shuts down her thyroid. So now her metabolism slows down. And then she starts, well, I got to quit eating. She quits eating and her metabolism slows down even more, where in reality, ladies out there, you got 3 different estrogens in your body. You have estradiol, estrone, and estriol, right? estradiol, estrone, estriol, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid T3 and T4, morning cortisol, insulin, and hemoglobin A1C. I can repeat that, slow it down, go back, write these down. Tell your doctor to test them. Test them on yourself if you're not losing weight. And if he doesn't know what to do with it, just call us and we'll point you in the right direction, right?
What about men and testosterone and like why is it that men lose weight differently than women, and how is it different?
Well, men, again, environmental toxins? Environmental toxins can estrogenize all of us, elevate estrogen levels.
Oh, estrogens, right?
Right, good girl. And as men age, like I said, fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated. As men age, your testosterone levels go down. And what happens when a man puts on body fat?
Get more estrogen.
His estrogen levels go up. So when he goes to the doctor and says, "Doc, I need to lose weight," the doctor doesn't think about the male being estrogen dominant. So we've got to balance out his testosterone and balance out his thyroid. A lot of doctors go, "Well, let me put you on 100 milligram shot of testosterone a week." You can't treat testosterone in isolation. You got to look at the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis. It's a three-legged stool, both in men and women. In women, it could be the ovary adrenal thyroid axis. So if I get a woman that's not losing weight or she stalls, then I'm going to look at her thyroid, T3 and T4. I'm going to look at her adrenal glands. Because remember, there's women out there that are working too hard. There's women that are moms. There's women that are going through divorce. There's women that are having tough times in their life. When I meet them, do you think I'm going to change their diet? No. They're eating a lot of carbohydrates to elevate their serotonin levels. I may be cutting out the only thing that's keeping them from going off the deep end. So you gotta meet people where they are. A lot of people that are going through a trauma or that are going through a tough time in life. I just did a video on grieving with Tom Picello a couple of days ago. And if you're going through a tough time, that isn't the time to go on a diet, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, and the diet probably isn't the best diet.
Right, exactly.
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned, I think early on, well, let's put it this way. So when you're in the gym, a lot of things get talked about, different diets, paleo and keto and carnivore and vegetarian.
Right.
So is there a best diet that's best for everyone, or does it depend on the person?
Well, again, I try to do some therapeutic listening. Let me tell you, I had an Indian family I tested a few years back. I tested them and I found out they had low amino acids, low essential and low non-essential amino acids. I gave them that information and I added eggs into their diet. So I don't shoot down anybody. If you want to be a vegan, great. Let's get a baseline. Because if you're a vegan and you're not getting your amino acids, you're going to mine amino acids out of your own muscle tissue. The body is a wonderful compensatory mechanism. If you don't feed, and here's another one, folks, you are not what you eat, you are what you absorb. So your gut has a lot to do with pulling nutrients out of food. If your microbiome is out of balance, okay, and you're not pulling nutrients out of food, which happens as we age, your body, because it's a protective mechanism, is going to take 21 minerals, 13 vitamins, 9 amino acids, and 2 essential fats out of your own organs, out of your own muscle, out of your own lean tissue. So, one of the things that happens to people over 50 is sarcopenia, muscle wasting. Everybody's talking about weight loss. Well, nobody, I worked at an imaging center 10 years ago where we're imaging the body. We could see the muscle to fat ratio. That was a lot better than standing on a scale. If you stand on a scale, you don't get your muscle to body fat ratio. It doesn't give you the right reading. So you don't want to lose muscle mass, okay? That's like critical. And getting back to your question, Chrissy, people in the gym, I like when people work out at a gym together because it's our need for affiliation is met. You're sharing ideas. You're motivating each other. Anytime I meet somebody, I want somebody that I know they need to work out. I figure out where they are. Sometimes people are in such a bad spot, I just want them to get outside and have the sun hit their eyes and restart their circadian rhythm. Other times people are like, I'm ready to work out. And I go, do you want to work out by yourself or do you want to get in a group? So the group workouts are always better. I like that because of the sharing information.
Our weight loss program at Scala Precision Health was developed to lose fat and to keep muscle, which is critical as we age. Let's shift our thinking to the new research on fat loss. For 100 years, we measured calories, But that was only one piece of the puzzle. Scala Precision Health has developed a gender-specific fat loss muscle regeneration program with a focus on losing fat and keeping muscle. Every human loses fat in a variety of different ways, and it's not about calories. Remember, fat distribution is genetically determined and hormonally regulated. There have been thousands of diets since the late 1800s, but none that maintain long-term weight loss. Fat loss and muscle regeneration is not as simple as restricting calories. Scala Precision Health developed a program based on genetics, sex, age, hormonal deficiencies, microbiome, sleep patterns, time of day you're eating, and fat-to-muscle ratio. Forget calories in and calories out. It does not work. But Scala Precision Health has the first fat loss muscle regeneration gender-specific program.
Well, let's go. I know your big thing is keto, like that you are really an expert in that. So
No, not really.
kind of talk about how, because that's what people are going to. I mean,
right.
You see it on the internet everywhere. There's little videos of check what your metabolism is, and is keto for you, whatever. So what are some tips for people who may have started that and it didn't work so well? Are there like common pitfalls that you want to?
Yeah, and this is a good one, folks. And for my video crew here, you guys are the best. Why does the ketogenic diet fail? All right, here's why it fails. Number one, when you shift over to the ketogenic diet, it needs to be done slowly, or she got lightheaded. So our brain is a glucose monster. What you're doing on the ketogenic diet, you're shifting your brain and metabolism from burning glucose to burning fat, or the ketone that's in fat called beta-hydroxybutyrate. So the ketogenic diet is wonderful, but everybody responds to it differently. And sometimes they get anxiety. Sometimes if they get up, they get dizzy. They get orthostatic hypotension. Their hands will shake. They may break out into a sweat. A lot of people on keto, this scares the hell out of them. And they're like, I'm not doing that diet, man. I almost had an anxiety attack in my car. That's understood. That's why, folks, when you come to us, we show you how to do the ketogenic diet and the intermittent fasting the right way. We're in no rush. This is a marathon. A marathon is 26.2 miles. We're going to take this a mile at a time. I don't want you to drop 10, all those advertisements saying you're going to drop 10 pounds in a week. That's horse shit. You're going to lose body fluid, okay? They're running the game down, people. They're lying to people. And there's a lot of weight loss programs that just want to get you through the door and have you waste your money. I want to teach you the basics of your metabolism so you could plug this stuff in for a lifetime. I mean, when you get into your 60s, you don't just want, if you lose too much weight, you're going to lose muscle mass, and that's going to protect your immune system. So you want to protect your immune system. You want to maintain your muscle mass as you age. So again, fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated. Okay, we are not what we eat, we are what we absorb. So these are some things that when people hear us talk, Chrissy, they go, oh, I'm going to check that off. So the ketogenic diet a lot of times doesn't work because the doctor doesn't check the hormone levels. If a woman goes on the ketogenic diet, Chrissy, and she's estrogen dominant, what's going to happen?
Well, she's going to hang on to fat if she has that much estrogen. Yeah.
Right. So we got to balance out our hormones and use the ketogenic diet in synergy, all right? What if a woman, God forbid, loses somebody in her family, which we're all going to lose people we love, it's very frustrating, or she's going through a divorce, or she just lost her job, and she's on the ketogenic diet, and she's under stress. Why wouldn't she be losing weight?
Increased cortisol.
Thank you. See that? You're so smart. You should be sitting here.
I've just been writing all your stuff for that long.
No, but, and again, we want all the ladies to know out there, if you're under stress and you're increasing the stress hormone cortisol, here, do this. Don't listen to me. Google elevated cortisol and body fat. Elevated cortisol and abdominal body fat. You'll see what I mean. Next time you're at your doctor, if if you're trying to lose weight and it's not working, tell your doctor, I want these tests. Remember, we'll do it again. Estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid, free T3, free T4, morning cortisol, fasting insulin, and hemoglobin A1C. Most likely your doctor's going to say, well, if I got these results back, I'm not going to know what to do. Just tell them I want these tests done, run them through insurance, and then folks, call us, we'll tell you what to do with them, right?
Right. Well, the reason that most people go on the ketogenic diet is because they found out they're a carbohydrate addict. That's what there was actually, I think, a book called that or something like that. But so tell me about carbohydrate addiction and kind of what do you do about that? How do you know you're a carbohydrate addict?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Folks, I help set up some addiction centers, opiate, alcohol. I've worked directly with addictions, opiate, alcohol, Suboxone. Traveled to some of the best addiction centers in Florida and looked at what they were doing. And I stepped away after I met these owners. I'm like, damn, I know we can do this better. And two of the things I learned in there, people that are addicts pound the carbohydrates. They're medicating themselves with the carbohydrates for a reason. Carbohydrates elevate the feel-good chemical serotonin and elevate the chemical neurotransmitter dopamine. So we're going to be working with continuous glucose monitors. It's a monitor you're going to wear where if you get back to eating that steak, broccoli, and baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, after your meal, the glucose monitor will tell you how high your blood sugar is. Because if your blood sugar goes up and you're eating carbohydrates, it's going to calm you down. So I call white rice, bread, and pasta poor man's Prozac. But again, people are under stress. It could be an executive. It could be a mom with postpartum depression. Athletes, I was hanging out with endurance athletes for 20 years. At night, I used to get up in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep, and I used to eat a bunch of rice or eat ice cream just to knock myself out. I didn't know what I was doing back in the late 80s, but basically I was medicating myself from all the elevated cortisol. So what can we glean from that? Some people, maybe 5% of the people, have a carbohydrate addiction. We have a program for carbohydrate addicts. And we're training coaches right now with these people, you have to go really, really slow. Because like I said, if somebody's going through a rough time, everybody's not always honest with you. So, Chrissy, people that are going through a hard time in life, a lot of them are embarrassed and they're medicating themselves. A lot of women drink alcohol. Why are they drinking alcohol?
Well, it relaxes you.
Yeah, I know, great. But you know what it does? It elevates estrogen.
Right.
And estrogen, when estrogen goes up, it elevates the feel-good chemical serotonin.
It also affects your metabolism, right?
Yeah, well, you're not allowed. It doesn't allow you to go into REM sleep. But my point is, and I don't want to simplify this too much. I just want to show the reason why women and men drink alcohol. It elevates estrogen levels. Estrogen levels elevate serotonin, so they're actually medicating themselves. And listen, when people go through a rough time, a lot of them end up on antidepressants. Here's another thing I realized. It's easier to get an alcoholic off of alcohol within 6 months. It's easier to get people off of opiates. Antidepressants are addictive, and we're starting to see more and more information on that as well. So when people say, carbohydrates are as addictive as cocaine, I don't know. I don't see many carbohydrate dealers in the street. My point is that carbohydrates make us feel good, and when people are going through a rough time, maybe that's all they got. So if you're a coach out there or you're a doctor and you know somebody's going through a rough time, balance out their hormones first, clean up their gut, have somebody talk to them on a weekly basis, and then slowly move the carbohydrates out of their diet. It's like a seesaw. You balance out estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, and slowly take the carbohydrates out of the diet. And then, one of the exciting things is when people really do lose weight, the most exciting thing they could do is they go buy new clothes. And two things happen. When they buy the new clothes, they got something they're putting on every day. And then if they start to gain weight, those new clothes will get tight and help them stay dialed in. So when somebody says, I'm going to go buy new clothes, I'm like, yeah, that's a win-win.
Well, they always tell you, don't go by the scale, go by how your clothes fit.
Yeah, and that's good. Go by how your clothes fit. Now, Brian, our video manager, has an image that he's going to put up for people to look at the visceral body fat. And that's why when you stand on a scale, it really doesn't tell you the true body fat to muscle ratio.
And just as a side note, we wrote a whole blog article about antidepressants and your whole experience with them and how addictive they are. So you can find that on
that's good.
ScalaPrecisionHealth.com. There's a whole article that he wrote that I edited that's there.
Okay. Yeah?
Yeah.
Folks, like I said, I've got, maybe it comes from 20 years of responding to emergency calls, but my short-term memory is done. So I got to surround myself with really smart people, I'm telling you.
As you were talking there, speaking about mental health, is there a way we're hardwired? I kind of want to go back from there, but is there a way we're hardwired to think about food?
Yeah, I think if we go back to, if we study cultures, let's look at the Inuit Indians that live in the frozen tundra. There's no carbohydrates up there. All they do is eat meat. Let's look at the Maasai tribe. Again, they don't eat any carbohydrates.
That's in the Amazon, right?
The Maasai tribe is in Africa. So my point is you could this is why I love studying evolutionary biologists. Evolutionary biology should be part of medical school because I study cultures all around the world and they see there's cultures that eat 80% carbohydrates, but they stay very active and they're lean. Let me give you an example. Sumo wrestlers are obese, but they never get diabetes. Why? Because they're working out 6 hours a day. As soon as a sumo wrestler who's obese stops working out, diabetes goes through the roof. So again, you've got to stay active. Hunters and gatherers get up in the morning and they travel sometimes 10 to 15 miles before they have their first meal. So they're very metabolically active. So we could learn from the different cultures out there and evolutionary biologists. Like, let me give you an example. In 1863, I think it was an attorney named Banting, lost 100 pounds. In 1863, he went down and saw what they were feeding the cows and the pigs to fatten them up. And and you get this, 1863, he went on a low carbohydrate diet, lost 100 pounds. He wrote, dieting back then was actually called Banting. He became like the YouTube influencer all over the world because of the pamphlet he wrote. Now, I've got doctors today that say low carb doesn't work. Low carb doesn't work. Now, there's essential amino acids that come from protein. There's essential, which means you got to get them from food, essential fatty acids from fat. There are no essential carbohydrates. Isn't that interesting? So the body is amazingly adaptive. This is like science repeats itself. In 1863, we knew that low carbohydrates helps people lose body fat. And that still hasn't caught on today. It's kind of scary. But the ketogenic diet movement is going to be a $40 billion industry. You can see all the keto food now being sold, right? You can see the keto bread, keto cookies, keto cereal that doesn't elevate your blood sugar. For all the obese kids out there, a protein-based cereal that doesn't elevate their blood sugar could be life-saving, right? Right.
Well, and it's something it has to be a lifestyle, though. It can't be a diet, is what I've come to understand.
Right.
It has to be something you can maintain.
I don't like using the word diet. Right. And that's where I have a problem with the doctors. Not a problem, but the doctors go, Russ, I want an alternative revenue stream. I want to start a weight loss program. I want to put 8 people on it a day. I'm like, it's going to take you an hour because you got to get a backstory on somebody. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. So when you talk about kind of a lifestyle, losing weight, something that you're able to maintain, and you've mentioned a few times, talking about fasting. So can you tell us why it's good for your health on a cellular level, like you like to talk about? And we'll start there.
Well, number one, we got to wrap our heads around we're not designed to eat 3 meals a day. All right, if you look back in the 1960s, Google 1960s Woodstock. Look at everybody at Woodstock. Hardly any obesity.
But go to Walmart today.
Yeah, so what happened? What happened? Is it the processed food? Is it the seed oil? Here's the deal. Obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and dementia have 2 things in common. Elevated insulin and high blood sugar. So in David Sinclair's new book called Longevity, he talks about keeping your blood sugar down. We want to put people on continuous glucose monitors. And even from the performance side, Tony and I we met with a PGA pro, Tony Clark, and we were talking about a golfer to maintain his focus, shift his body into nutritional ketosis, and have him as he walks the 26.2 miles in a tournament on the back 9 where he really has to focus, monitor his blood sugar.
Because you don't want to mess up those last few strokes.
Right, exactly.
You want the other guy to mess up.
So exactly. Yeah. So again, folks, there's a lot of things going on right now. There's a paradigm shift in weight loss. I know that you get frustrated. You just need to hang in there. A lot of people have been on a 5-year journey. I went to my doctor. He told me to quit eating a lot. I went to my specialist. He said I had thyroid issues. That didn't work. Then I went to a nutritionist. And then I went to talk to the guy at Whole Foods that's wearing the Tevas and the dreadlocks, and he told me to go on the ketogenic diet. He was right. I lost weight. All I'm saying is we don't We don't know what's going to help you lose the weight. We don't know where you are. We want to plug in a program that's going to work for you, and the only way to do that is I've got to listen, and I need some lab work to look at your metabolic processes. We need to look at your gut. Your gut has a lot to do with losing weight, and then getting back to your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, thyroid. All those hormones are interconnected. Fat distribution is genetically determined, hormonally regulated. Men have high estrogen, women have high estrogen. It's called estrogen dominance. And our environment, the pollution in our environment, folks, and everything you rub on your skin, a chemical, can elevate estrogen levels. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just want you to plug in things that's going to help you get through the next 10 years. Because if you're obese, I work with a lot of obese people, and they're just frustrated. They just want to throw their hands in the air because they haven't been given good information. They've basically been lied to, not intentionally, by their doctor, their personal trainer, and their too-fanny granny. These people are frustrated, and we want to help them with that frustration. We're not fat shaming. We want to help them. If you're obese, you're susceptible to a bunch of different cancers. Your heart disease goes through the roof. Dementia is tied directly to obesity now. It's called type 3 diabetes. So as a paramedic for 20 years who took care of my parents, listen to this, folks, because I don't want to see you suffer. If you're carrying extra weight, you don't have to spend 20 hours a week. Just make little subtle changes. Surround yourself with a group. Our need for affiliation. I always say, show me your 3 friends and I'll show you your health. Get a group of people together and say, hey, why don't we try to drop a few pounds and learn all the new research that's out there, right? I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah. So for obese people, I guess when you say you're not meant to eat 3 meals a day, or anybody who's trying to lose weight, that might be a little bit scary to say,
Yeah, because
start fasting.
When they're blood, you're not going to starve. I mean, they've got records of the longest fast was a guy that checked himself into a New York City hospital. I forget his name right now. He lost 180 pounds. He was 350 pounds when he went in. He ate no food for a year. Now that's an extreme case. The reason people have a hard time with fasting is because when their blood sugar drops, their adrenaline levels go up and they get shaky. It's like, oh, the hell with this. I got to eat every few hours. Well, I just had a guy call me the other day going, Russ, I'm hypoglycemic. I know you're not. I go, listen to me. Try to add more protein into your diet. Stretch it out. You need to get a coach when you're going on this intermittent fasting. See, all my clients can call me 24/7, and I kind of walk them through this stuff. You got to walk people off the ledge sometimes.
So get a coach.
Yeah.
Start slow. Add protein, maybe some good fats.
Yeah.
You won't starve.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, you do a lot of this stuff with food. Yeah. I know you coach a lot of people. You're showing people how to eat with your food program. And a lot of people...
flavors. People get bored, and they don't want to eat the same thing all the time, or because, a really good meal a lot of times is eggs and vegetables. So, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that,
Well, I do, and I eat the same thing every day. I mean, I don't look at food like... I look at food like fuel. But again, I've been eating... Right now, for the last few months, I've been eating low fat, but ketogenic low fat. So I eat broccoli and I eat egg whites, and then I add the spices you gave me, because broccoli and egg whites every day, I'm like, geez, this is like, I'm getting tired of this. But my point is, my goal is to see if I could cut visceral body fat at my age, 64 years old. I want to be able to see how, in other words, I'm getting stronger in the gym. Now, I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to be an endurance athlete anymore. I want to see if I could build muscle through fasting. And I believe when you fast, you elevate your growth hormone. I believe you could build muscle through fasting, because remember, as we get older, sarcopenia, muscle wasting, is like a disease for older folks. I used to take people into nursing homes. I would pick them up, and they were skin and bones. I remember that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No.
You want to do everything smart and everything tailored to your body and your system and what's going on with your chemistry at that time.
Everybody's biochemically unique. Nobody wants to take the time to customize a program for somebody.
I think we covered everything we're going to, but was there any other...
Well, I thank you. I needed you to come help me. I appreciate that, sweetie.
Anytime.
Yeah. I mean, this is... it gives me time to think when you're answering questions. I think we're going to make this a regular format, folks, because like I'm much better this way than I am on my feet, right? Right? Okay. Yeah, my video.
Nodding a lot.
Yeah, my video guys are going. Yeah, okay, all right. So, folks, go to the Russ Scala YouTube channel, see Scala Precision Health. My book, American Biohacker. You could call us and ask questions. Remember, I can't get the word out there without you. So have a good day, and thanks for listening.
The time is now for you to take control of your health. Everybody and every body has a story. Let us find out yours today.